You are running out of time. If you do not escape now, you and your future generations may literally be stuck forever working jobs they hate, for people they hate, living a life they hate, surrounded by people they hate. And I assume you don't want to be like this. And I assume you definitely don't want your kids and your future kids to live like this. So what do I mean by you're going to be stuck? Basically, everything is moving towards being online, which we've seen is monitored by the governments and can also be shut down by the governments, especially with Twitter. And I think it was the FBI was telling Twitter like what to do. Documents were leaked by Elon Musk when they bought Twitter, that the actual government has a role in social media and technology and what people can and can't say. Some girl in Australia, which is where I'm at now, I'm pretty sure it was Australia, she made a post online on Facebook. She ended up getting arrested for that post. And that's like today's world. Imagine if everything is online in a few years' time, and the government's even way more strict on what you can and can't say. If you annoy the wrong people, they can lock you up, turn off your electricity. We're moving towards fully electric cars, like the Tesla. They're all right. However, again, in that example, if you annoyed the wrong people, they could turn off your car so that you couldn't work, you couldn't get any food. They could turn off your electricity so your hot water doesn't work, your lights don't work, your food can't get cooked. The only way to actually avoid this happening to you is to live sort of outside of the government, which means to, one, have enough money to actually, one, live where you want, two, live with the people you want to, and to not work the jobs they want you to work. If you have enough money, you can fly out to a little country in the middle of nowhere or a little island with all your cars, all your friends, and you don't have to worry about doing any 9-to-5 job, public transport, grocery stores, government-controlled power grids. And also, let me try and formulate a good talking point. Drawing a big blank here, but bear with me. All right, I'm just gonna go into the virus. We saw how quickly and how effectively the government was able to control the entire population of basically the entire world. Billions of people were injected with a vaccine to save themselves from a virus that is basically the common cold. Let's be honest. The people who it's going to affect most, the elderly, the overweight, they already have health problems. It's not that big of a surprise that a cough or a cold is going to aggravate and be more disruptive to those people. They were able to weaponize the fear. They were able to weaponize the virus and the fear, create fear amongst people to get them to take the vaccines because it's gonna save your grandma who's 93. People don't even live that long, you know? So they're probably not gonna live too much longer anyway. But they're using fear to get people to get injections, and if you didn't get the injections, guess what happened? You wouldn't be allowed to work. You wouldn't get paid, you wouldn't get food, you can't leave your home. When the lockdown was happening, in Australia, there was like 100 and something days of lockdown where you couldn't leave your house. That is insane. You can't leave your house or you'll get fined or arrested. And then again, if the government actually wanted to be evil with this, they could lock you up pretty much forever. They've already proved that they can lock you up for a few days. They could easily extend that for way longer. And with new technologies coming out, especially with things like Neuralink and Elon Musk, sure, but the idea of Neuralink and those chips to get implanted into your brain, that's a bit scary, and I'll explain why, especially in terms of the controlling government. Let's say they wanted to fake a virus. Let's say hypothetically they wanted to fake how dangerous some virus is. Crazy, right? But if they picked a virus or a fungal infection like the ones that happen to ants or specific worms, these viruses or fungi control the bodies of the ants or the worms and make them do other things. As in, the worms will crawl out into the open so they can get eaten by birds. The birds then get infected with the virus and the birds go out undefended. They stop flying around, they walk around like zombies and wait to get eaten by things like cats or dogs, and then they get infected with the virus. That's how that virus thrives. Similar thing with ants. The fungi infects the ants, makes them turn into basically zombies, crawl up trees, and then sprouts out the back of their head and releases spores, killing the rest of the ants. Imagine if they wanted to fake a virus. Crazy idea. Like those fungal infections, and say that unless you get this microchip, your body will be controlled by the fungi. Your body is going to get controlled by the fungi and you're going to get turned basically into a zombie. If they then said this microchip will overcome that because it's implanted into your brain and can actually send signals into your brain manually to overcome that virus, imagine how quickly they could get everyone implanted with the microchip. We saw how quickly they can do it with the vaccine. Imagine if they wanted to actually fake something and actually push it hard. They would get everyone vaccinated within like a month. And then if you do something to annoy them, lights out. They just turn off your microchip. And the reason also is why you need to have money is that if you don't have money, especially if you have all of your money in government-controlled or government-influenced banks, they just freeze your accounts. And then you can't buy food, you can't buy public transport until you comply and get the injection. That's why you need to get money, and you need to store it somewhere that the government that controls you can't control it. A good way to do this is to have, a company, like just an LLC that maybe sells shirts. Have that set up somewhere in a small island like the Philippines. Have that business bringing in, money, which is basically you buying their shirts or whatever. So you're sending your money to them, they hold your money, and they can refund it back to you whenever you want. That business in the Philippines has all your money. The government has none of it. The government can't really go to the Philippines to deal with their tiny island, and they're probably not too proactive people on fixing the issue. Nor do they probably speak, maybe they don't even speak that proper English and have to deal with translations, delays, time of day, the differences between that to get to your money, which can be under some company in the Philippines, not under your name, you know? You need to get out. I can't stress this enough. In just a few years, everything's going to be like what I'm saying. Whether you like it or not, whether you believe me or not, it's going to happen. And I think you kind of understand. If you have any sort of ability to think, which is pretty hard nowadays, most people have been destroyed mentally. If you are able to think and you can look at the track record of the American governments and the American agencies with things like JFK, America accidentally sent $6 billion to Ukraine. Accidentally. Why is this important? $5 billion would have been perfectly enough to fund the restructuring and support needed for the wildfires in Maui. However, they spent that $5 billion and an extra billion accidentally to Ukraine. Stuff isn't making much sense. You need to escape. The day is getting closer when there's no turning back. It's called like the event horizon, say of a black hole. There's a point where nothing can escape the pull. Imagine that point is the government and there's a ring around it. Once you get across that, not even light can escape. And when that day comes that you cross the gap, if you haven't figured out that you're heading towards the black hole and divert with money in different places, moving to different locations, living and working jobs that you want to work and live with, you're going to get sucked in. And as we all know, there's no escaping a black hole. Not even light can escape a black hole. So again, you need to escape. You need to get out. You need to do it now.